Can a person of faith work at a theme park comfortably? And how do they work around some of the conflicts that might happen? So just a quick heads up for you. This is not a preachy video. I'm not going to be slamming you over the head with religion, so don't worry. Theme parks by their nature are not religious environments. There really isn't such a thing as a Christian theme park or a Muslim or Jewish theme park or anything like that. Because people travel on weekends, which is when the days off for people of faith are, Fridays, Saturdays, and or Sundays, it tends to kind of create some conflicts there, as well as you may end up with conflicts about what events you're working, how you're treating people, and some things like that. So theme parks, if you are a person of faith, any faith, can create some very interesting conflicts, but they can also create some great opportunities as well. Now, if you don't know a whole lot about me, you may not realize that I'm not just a Christian. I am actually a pastor and a minister. That is my first job, and then I do the videos and stuff on the side. And that has been true for many years. The whole time I worked at theme parks, I was also working at churches. And for me, that was kind of my main job. And so it did affect what I did at the parks a little bit, but it also motivated me as far as what I did at the parks. Now, people of different faiths may have conflicts with the parks over various things. There was a huge deal at Disneyland a few years ago over a woman who wanted to wear her headscarf for her faith, which was not in accordance with Disney's dress rules. And there was a huge deal about it, and eventually she won and got to wear a headscarf. And now if you go to Disney parks, you'll see those occasionally. And there have been some other different things like that. For me, I didn't have anything like that, but I did have a few small conflicts as far as, in particular for me, work schedules. Because I'm a minister, my Sundays are kind of booked. The church kind of has to be where I am because that's my job as a pastor. And so trying to work with the parks and make sure that that was available definitely created some interesting situations. Busch Gardens, I worked part-time the whole time I was there. So I basically just told them that I was only available on Saturdays and holidays and things like that. Essentially, what I presented to them was that I had another job on Sundays, so I wasn't available. So it wasn't a problem there. With Disney, it was a little bit, and I had to, again, kind of work with them. One of the things that Disney does for its cast members is it allows you to bid on a work schedule. So you can essentially choose what days you work and what hours you work on those days, depending upon what shift blocks are available. But when you first start, that is not a possibility. And so for my first 5 months or so, I didn't have that option. They could basically schedule me whenever. So I had to sit down with one of the managers and say, okay, I'm willing to do just about anything, but I have this other job. It's the same kind of thing you would do if you were a college student and you had to have certain days off for classes, or if you actually did have a second job that you were working on certain days. And I just basically said, for now, I just got to have the Sundays. I really should have Wednesday nights as well, because that's when we had some other services. But in particular, Sunday mornings, and I'll work around the rest. Now, it did mean that there were a couple times when they needed me on Sundays, and I got scheduled on Sundays, and I just kind of had to find somebody else to cover the church thing when that happened. So that was kind of a little bit of a struggle at the beginning for Disney. Once we got to a point where I got to bid, well, I just made sure that I picked a group of shifts that didn't conflict with my church schedule, and I was good to go. It just took a little bit of time, and I had some great managers that were very willing to work with me, and I compromised a little bit, and that is one thing that you do need to do, is you have to be willing to compromise. Silver Dollar City was a little bit more of a challenge, because for them, Saturdays and Sundays are their huge days. And here I was wanting Sundays off, and so I found times when I could help them that wouldn't take too much away. I offered to do like one Sunday every couple months, and I would find somebody else to cover at the church for me that day. One of the things I did do was during Christmas, because the train did not start till later in the afternoon for all the Christmas stuff. I went ahead and I worked those Sundays, because I could do my Sunday morning service, and then I could, right afterwards, dash off, grab some lunch real quick, and do my 30 to 45 minute drive over to Silver Dollar City and still get there in time to start. So it wouldn't conflict that way. We had one time that one of the gentlemen that was working one of the other rides had a family member that was in the hospital. If I remember right, it was his granddaughter. And he really wanted to be with her, but there wasn't anybody else to cover his shift except for one of the other guys on the train. And this was on a Sunday. And I found out about it on a Saturday. They couldn't pull the guy off the train because there wasn't anybody else to cover. Well, I wasn't going to be a jerk and say, sorry, you can't go see your sick grandchild. And so I volunteered. I called somebody else up and said, hey, look, I need you to cover this for me so I can cover over here so this person can go be with their family in a time of need. And so there were times that I would compromise like that, and because there's a greater need there than what I was doing. But for the most part, they were pretty good about working with me, and we just kind of worked around when we could. And when I could bend a little bit, I would. And when they could bend a bit, they would. And it actually ended up working out really well. But there's other things, too, that it may conflict with. The parks have special events, and sometimes you may get stuck working an event that you don't necessarily agree with. Oh, well, get over it. Realize that not everybody's in the same place you are. And that's really what a lot of the things that you end up dealing with at the parks is kind of getting over yourself. In fact, I was very frustrated when I found out about people who didn't do that. I can remember at Disney, our main break room underneath the Main Street, called the Main Street Break Room, coincidentally, had these large tables that would seat 8 people, 10 people. And so the photographers would oftentimes manage to get breaks at the same time, especially during the parade. And we would all go sit around this one big table by ourselves, listen to the parade going over our heads. And every now and then I would get somebody at the table who would find out that I was a minister or a pastor or a Christian. And they would get this reaction like, why are you sitting with me? Why are you being nice? You're supposed to be mean. That really kind of bothered me. Not because of who or what they were or anything like that, but the fact that they had a reaction like that because they had been treated badly by people who believe different. And it shouldn't be like that. I was really hurt when I heard things like that or saw things like that they assumed that I was going to immediately come down and start yelling at them or not want to sit with them or something like that. Faith should be a motivation in how we treat people. Too often I saw examples of where it had been the wrong motivation. You see, really when it came down to it, I found the parks in many ways actually to be a perfect place to live and practice my faith, because I believe in a faith that preaches love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, self-control. Sounds like a perfect description of a theme park cast member to me. And so a lot of what I did in the parks was really motivated from that. Hey, I'm getting paid to practice what I'm supposed to be doing anyways. My faith says one thing and the job description says one thing, and in this area, they were perfectly matched. Go make people happy. Okay, I can do that. And so I was constantly looking for ways to make people happy. If they were in a rough situation, well, what can I do to help make it better? And there were actually things that I learned on the job, especially at Disney, but also with Busch and Silver Dollar City, that I was able to take outside of the job and use in my own personal life as well, which was really cool, honestly. It meant that if I saw somebody having a bad day, okay, what can I do to go out of my way to turn their bad day into a good day? I mean, let's face it. If you're at a theme park, don't you want to see a smiling, happy, joyful face? If you're having a bad day, don't you want somebody to come alongside and help make it better and fix your problem and try to take care of you and, do what they can to turn your day around? And so it was really cool that both the faith and the park said, do this. It was an awesome way to be able to put things that oftentimes we talk about into actual practice. We talk about doing random acts of kindness, and it's a wonderful thing to do, and everybody should be doing it. But how cool is it when it's actually your job to be able to do that? That was just awesome. I can think of a number of times when I saw people just having really hard days and really bad moments, and to know that the two could kind of combine and say, okay, let me look at you, let me meet your need. What can I do to help you? I can remember one time that I had a guest at one of the parks that they had just had a horrible day, and they were sitting on the sidewalk and they're crying by themselves, and okay, let me step away from what I'm doing here for a minute and just to go sit down next to you. Hey, you want to talk to me? Is there something I can do to help? Put a hand on the back, not wrapping around, don't do that. You still want to keep it appropriate. But just a hand on the back and just to let them know, hey, there's somebody who cares about you. There's somebody who's noticed, and what can I do? And I actually took the one person who was a teenager that was just having a rough time with the friends they were there with. I walked him down to the little ice cream shop at the end and say, hey, get him a scoop of ice cream, because ice cream makes everything better. It meant when I was on the train that at the end of all of my train rides, I would say a short little blessing over everybody on the train. Not a prayer per se, but it was just a short, simple, may the Lord above pour out his blessings upon you and yours in great abundance. And I sincerely meant that for everybody on there. Never did get a complaint. I had one person that did walk up to me one time and said, "Did you really mean that?" Yes, I really did mean that. Okay, I just wanted to be sure. That's cool. And actually, I had a number of people that came up to me and said thank you, because it was something that they needed. Because I really want people to be blessed. Generally speaking, if you are working at a theme park, especially one like Disney, prayer while you were working is a no-no. Especially with guests. You don't walk up to a guest and say, "Hey, can I pray for you?" Because you don't know what their faith system is, if they even have one. And it could become offensive very quickly, and you don't want to be pushy. So it's a big no-no. In fact, at Disney, if you actually do that, you are risking getting fired because they don't want to offend. And personally, as somebody who prays a lot, I agree with them. I don't want to be rude and pushy. And there's some people who have a hard time, so you just tell them, no, don't do it. But there were times at Disney, even with that rule, where you kind of feel them out a little bit and you see where they are and what's going on. And just a simple, quiet, "Hey, is it okay if I pray for you?" And you ask first gently to find out. I did have one person, "No, I'd rather not." Okay, that's fine. What can I do to help you have a better day? Now, what I didn't tell them when I said, okay, that's fine, wasn't that I wasn't going to pray for them out loud. Because I still prayed for them. I walked away and I very quietly, under my breath, where nobody could hear me, I prayed for them anyways. Because I do believe in the power of prayer. But I certainly was not going to push my prayer on them where it would bother them and offend them. I wanted to bless them. And for me, prayer is a blessing. But I did not want to offend them or hurt them or get them upset. And that's the whole point of everything, really, is it isn't focusing on you and where you are and what you think and what you believe and shoving that on other people. It's focusing on other people and what you can do for them. We all hear about the golden rule, which I like to paraphrase a little bit since it gets massacred anymore, to treat other people the way you want to be treated. If that was you, how would you want people to treat you? And that's what I strive to do, and that's what any good cast member at a theme park will do. How would I want to be treated? And that's how I want to treat you. That's the whole motivation. It is the perfect description of a theme park employee. So once you can work out the conflicts over dress sometimes and scheduling sometimes, there isn't a better place to work than a theme park if you're a person of faith, because it's living it out for the guests. Have you had an experience with faith in a park where an employee or cast member did something, especially a positive one? I'd love to hear it. Please share it in the comments below. Keep it positive, I ask you, because I love for this whole thing to be an encouragement to people. That's the whole point. So if you've got a great experience or somebody just blessed you, I'd love to hear it. Please share it below. If you haven't subscribed yet, do that. Make sure you like and share this video as well. If this video has blessed you, please like and share it with other people. Spread the word. Let's put a smile on everybody's face out there. Let's do kindness for each other. Thank you as well to my patrons. I want to give a huge shout out to T-Chess Media for increasing their pledge. They've been a huge blessing to me. You have no idea how much. If you want to know more about Patreon too, be sure to look down below. There's a link there. My patrons get some special benefits, and I've actually got a whole special deal coming up in February for them, where those who support me for at least $1 a month will actually get a postcard from me in February mailed directly from Disney World. So if you want to know more about Patreon and supporting me, check out the link below. There's also links to my Facebook fan group page, the Reddit page, Discord, merchandise is down there, and so much more. Again, I hope this video has blessed you. If it has, please let me know. Thank you so much for watching, and may God bless you. How do they do that and get around some of the problems that they might encounter? Try to help bless people and help. Okay, let me see if I can get this right. And to see my faith and my job come together in that way, and I know I'm just repeating and rambling here. I would say a short little blessing over everybody. Make sure you like it. Oh my goodness. So if you want to know more about theme parks, with a few exceptions, are not really... Okay. So quick... My goodness, I can't talk today. If you want to know whenever I have a new video out, well, hey, make sure you hit that button right there and subscribe. If you want to see another video right now, well, I've got a great one right here for you. And if you want to be like these wonderful people here and help support me financially on Patreon, well, check out that link right there and it'll take you to it. Thanks so much and God bless.